Hi, it's Amanda from Always in Love. We're here with another book review. This is called Blue Hill Blood by Elizabeth Gray. It's actually our buddy read for this month. We picked it because it's something out of our norm. It's a psychological thriller, and it is definitely more suspense and less like what we normally we actually had a buddy chat where we went through the book and kind of talked with the author, which was kind of fun. So check that out too. We'll have some links for that. But this book is about a mystery murder, and he is kind of having some writer's block. So he goes to this little town to kind of do like a writer's retreat type thing to get away from it all to do this. And he starts releasing snippets through social media, and the people in the town start ending up dead, like the snippets in his book. So it's kind of all who done it and a lot of murder and mystery and things like that. So it was a pretty fun book to read. It was fun and buddy read to kind of talk to the author and find out what she was thinking through each of the parts. So if you've read it or if you plan on reading it, check that out. It was kind of fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about the book. Now, the first thing was one of the fun things that we did during the chat was a one sentence description of what the book is or how you would tell somebody what it was. So we're going to start. Natasha, what is your one sentence?
Oh, my one sentence. It's a psychological, twisted thriller that will leave you completely dumbfounded.
See, you're just so much better. Mine is much more simple. It's like if a Stephen King book and a Sandra Round book had a baby, it would be this book. It's pretty accurate. It has the grisliness of the Stephen King murders and things like that, but it also has the suspense and the whodunit and a little bit of the romance, a little bit, like a Sandra Brown book. So let's talk a little bit about our author, Henry. Kind of tell us a little bit about him.
Henry is he's like kind of a USA Today, New York Times bestseller, like a thriller author, kind of like a Stephen King, and he's writing this series, and so he's on his kind of gets some writer's block. Most authors probably do it when they're writing stories that kind of just get stuck in a scene, they can't get past it, and he does. And his wife Lisa kind of is his pillar for him, and she sees that he's struggling, and she kind of Google searches this um, Blue Hill, and it's in Maine. And she's like, you know what, Henry? I think you need to go to this town and immerse yourself in the town to kind of get your feel, and get yourself back in your writing groove. And so Henry goes to Blue Hill, and he's writing. And as he's writing, he's so excited. He gets into his mindset. And then he puts teasers on Facebook, which all of our awesome, amazing authors always put teasers on Facebook. Well, as these teasers are coming out, they're mirroring the same murders in the town. So people start coming up dead, and it's almost identical to what he's writing. And he's like, well, I'm just the author. Somebody's just copycatting me because they're reading this. I'm here writing the whole time. So as time goes on, you kind of meet some people. There's some flashbacks to his life. He kind of struggles from a horrific, horrible accident that happened to him as a child. Again, no spoilers here, so I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen in it. But he struggles with that, and then he sees somebody that reminds him of his past, and he feels like he needs to connect with this person, and that's a struggle through him. And that person is connected to the sheriff, and to we kind of have a creepy mayor. We have a creepy stalker fan. That stalker fan is Clive, and Clive really, really wants information about Henry, and it's kind of just goes through this whole life of him writing the book. And don't you feel like some of these characters kind of add to the story?
Oh yeah, definitely. All the people that we meet along the way, the sheriff, all the people that could actually be doing this stuff and kind of framing him, and it's really interesting the quirkiness of the town and all the people that we meet and the bartender and the mayor and the sheriff, and then you also have this stalker fan who's like his number one fan who knows everything about him and all this kind of stuff, and we just meet all these different people that kind of don't know which way the story's going to go or what's happening, or and it really makes it for a thriller. It really makes for you don't know what's going to happen next, you don't know who actually did it, you don't know what's going on, and then you also have his loving wife who kind of takes care of him and all that kind of stuff. She kind of, it just adds another layer to the story. All these different stories kind of intertwine with know, the book that he's writing and also the real life of what's going on in the town. And it all kind of it plays out really interesting, and it was really fun to read. Kind of, you know, how everything unraveled and how it all went. And it was really fun to talk to Christy about it in our buddy read. You know, ask her what she was thinking, right? Some of the crazy things that happened. So overall, it was a really good book. I really enjoyed meeting all these different side characters. It kind of added to the story. We even got to get to know a little bit more of the characters that he was writing in the book through the snippets, which was really cool. So it was kind of like a world within a world.
Yeah.
It was and then, so as we said, Elizabeth Gray is one of our authors that we really like, Kay Webster. So check out the rest of her book. Kind of lean more towards a little bit more of the psychological, crazy thriller with some romance thrown in. So check out her books. We will have some buy links in the description. We will have our buddy read, obviously with Christy, linked to the video as well. Check that out. It's highly recommended. It was a lot of fun to do. You got a lot of answers for what she was thinking or what was going through her head, or you know how there was some mystery, how it was left open ended, that kind of stuff. It's really interesting the way that this whole book kind of played out. You know, the different who done it, different. You know, you think it's one person one minute, you think it's somebody else the next minute, and they just kept going back and forth. It was really fun to read, really fun to try to figure everything out through the end. I know that you read it on the plane, and we're kind of hooked on it through the whole thing. Uh, I read it a little bit more broken up than you, but how was it going through it, like pretty much all of it in one sitting?
I thought I was watching a movie because it was a 4.5 hour flight, and so and it was, it was a long flight, and it was a red eye. So as I'm reading this, everyone else is sleeping around me, and a couple of times I'm like, holy crap, did I just read that? And so it kept me on my toes, and literally I read it in one setting, and because you're on an airplane, I don't sleep well, somebody's snoring behind me, I needed to break it up. And this kind of added the creep factor because it was the middle of the night flying as I'm reading this. I'm like, oh my gosh. And to know the author now and then to have the buddy read and have Christy talk about it, it's kind of brings a lot of stuff to light of what she was trying to do. And I appreciate it. And I really like some of her characters. I think the wife is probably my favorite character because she does a lot to keep her marriage. And I'm just going to leave it at that because it's kind of like what did I just read? You kind of just leave there thinking, did I just read that? But then reading some of the next couple of books that Kay Webster writes, I appreciate her writing style because she can write that sweet, total swooning moments, ugly, ugly, ugly cry, and then write something like this, and you're like, wow, that's a 180.
Yeah.
But I appreciate diverse in that, and again, it was great to read it one setting because I thought I was watching a horror film, because I just have that picturesque mind and I'm reading it. I'm like, holy, this is really good, but it's kind of gruesome. And, there's some stuff that's like, what the hell did I just read moments. So,
There's a lot of those you have to go back. Did I really just read that type things in that moment? So it was a really fun to read. It does have a lot of that gruesomeness, unfortunately, but it was handled in a way that was not like overly grotesque or anything. The way that she it's really kind of almost necessary in a way. I mean, some of those are out there. Obviously, they have to be if the right, the character in the book was a serial killer, so you gotta get a little creative. Which some of those were a little out there, but it all kind of it worked for the book. Everything really worked. The characters, the way it was all set up, everything. It was really good. It was one of our, I wouldn't say favorite buddy reads, but it was a really, really fun buddy read. We really enjoyed this book. It was definitely something out of the norm, something a little different paced, and it was definitely a good choice for our buddy read for October, especially with Halloween coming up. So it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll be back with a new buddy read next month, a new fun book, and we look forward to talking to you next week with our new video, new review. Like and subscribe our videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
see you next week.